Well, it is noon on Tuesday. That must mean it's time for the virtual speaker session. We have a great program lined up for you today. We will be talking with the student leaders from the 2021 THON, the first ever virtual THON here at Penn State. We have Aiden Cliff, Katie Solomon, and Eddie Israel with us today. But before we get to them, let us know who you are and where you're from. Drop that information in the chat so that we can see where you're zooming in from for today's presentation about THON. We'll be getting started here in just a minute or two. Thanks for joining us on the virtual speaker session. Again, let us know who you are and where you're zooming in from. You can drop that information into the chat on the bottom of your Zoom video window, or you can put it in the comments on Facebook Live for those of you who are watching us on Facebook. I see Eileen Chrisman from State College, Denise Sullivan right here in State College, Bob and Margie Feisberg, Bernice down in Mazatlan, Mexico, rubbing it in with probably some unbelievable weather down there. I see Nicole Cantor from Mechanicsburg and Mike Greenwald. I'm sorry, Nicole Cantor from Nashville, Mike Greenwald from Mechanicsburg. Good to see you all zooming in. I see Joanne Cohen from Lancaster, whose daughter is actually dancing in THON this year. Well, it is a one-of-a-kind experience to dance in THON, and this year will not be any different, dancing in the first virtual THON in Penn State's history. Dave Bailey in Woodstown, New Jersey. Good to see you all. Thanks for zooming in with us today. We'll be getting started in just a minute. Where else would you rather be than a Zoom full of Penn Staters? I'm Paul Clifford, CEO of the Penn State Alumni Association, and I'd like to welcome everybody to today's virtual speaker session, which is being recorded. Live closed captions are available for this event. You can access them by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of your Zoom video window and then clicking Show Subtitle. You may also customize your caption view by clicking the Stream to Text link that was just posted in the chat. We are live streaming today's presentation, and this live stream has been made possible through the gracious support of a donor and the Fund for Access, Ideas, and Audacious Goals. Today's presentation will be archived and available on our website after the event. This afternoon, we welcome 3 student THON leaders, Aiden Cliff, Katie Solomon, and Eddie Israel. Aiden is a junior at Penn State studying finance with a minor in information systems management. Aiden has been on the development committee since he started at Penn State and currently serves as the director of development. Katie is a senior at Penn State studying criminology and sociology. Katie previously served as the development director for 2 years before stepping into the role as the executive director for THON 2021. And Eddie Israel is a senior studying science with a minor in biochemistry and molecular biology. Eddie has been involved in THON since his freshman year and is currently the director of alumni engagement. This presentation will discuss how Penn State THON has adapted to the virtual space for the 2021 Dance Marathon. The typical 46-hour event in the Bryce Jordan Center has transformed into a 46-hour live stream event for this year. Aiden, Katie, and Eddie will discuss the live streams, the dancer experience, and how Penn State alumni can support THON this year. Thank you for joining us, Aiden, Katie, and Eddie. I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, Paul and everyone. Thank you so much for that great introduction and for having us on today. We're so excited to be able to share what THON has been able to do this year with the Penn State community. It has certainly been different, but at the core of everything, THON has not changed, and I'm excited to share a little bit more about what I mean by that. So just give me 1 second to pull up my slides and then we'll get started. All right, are you able to see? Aiden or Eddie, want to give me a thumbs up? Okay, fantastic. So before we kick things off, I do want to just share the share the THON 2021 promo video. This is a great look into sort of how we started our year off. Once we finish this video, we will go into a recap of what we've done so far this year, and then talk a little bit about THON weekend, which is coming up in just a few days here. At the core of every city lies a community. A community is defined as a unified group of individuals but THON has proved it is much more. We are committed to creating a community of volunteers who have a common goal: to conquer childhood cancer. Since 1977, THON has raised over $180 million for our sole beneficiary, 4 Diamonds at Penn State Children's Hospital. Each year, over 16,500 students, alumni, and friends join our community as we continue to grow. No matter where you may be, you have the opportunity to join this fight. Every unique member of our community allows us to flourish and develop new visions for spreading awareness of our organization, providing funding for research, and supporting our families both emotionally and financially. We support each other and our families year-round. THON brings together groups of individuals who likely may have never crossed paths otherwise. We have created communities that make lifelong memories as we fight for a common mission that is bigger than us all. We stand together in strength to support those in our community who might need a shoulder to lean on or a smile to share some confidence. Every challenge or obstacle that comes our way is no match for our passion to conquer childhood cancer. The world is unpredictable and turbulent, but our commitment to our mission is unwavering. Time has proven that change is inevitable, and we have never been more prepared to adapt. Our community finds courage in change and teaches us how to evolve. We live in an ever-developing world. A world full of positivity. A world full of discovery. A world full of hope. We are a community that is better together. We have never been more ready to face the future. The best is yet to come. Join us in our fight for the kids. Awesome. So I just want to note that a lot of those clips were from previous THON years and events that we held prior to the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, and that's why those clips have large gatherings and events. But it really does showcase our year-long efforts in a way that I think everyone probably watching may be familiar with, or at least a little bit in tune to. And THON is more than just a weekend. THON is not any time, place, or location. It's this year-long thing that provides hope and inspiration to families around the world who are fighting childhood cancer. And it provides a source of opportunity for our Penn Staters to be part of a community that is so important and so impactful. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we've done this year to adapt to make sure that THON continues on just as strongly as ever before. And we're still able to provide that same financial and emotional support like we always have for the last 40 some odd years. So this year's theme for THON 2021 is Rise and Unify, and this is our logo, and it really just encapsulates the fact that it takes a village to make THON happen. You know, it's not just me, Eddie, or Aiden on this call today, or any of the support from the Alumni Association. It's every single person that is involved every single day that makes this organization possible. So we wanted to provide a call to action to the community to rise up over and overcome our challenges and unify to ensure that we're able to provide the same support. So overarching this entire year, we've had a renewed focus on our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. So at the beginning of the summer, we took the time to hear feedback from our community and understand where our shortcomings were as an organization as it pertains to our ability to have barriers to to not have barriers to entry, as well as just creating a more inclusive space for volunteers. So we had a feedback survey that went out. It could be submitted anonymously. We had several people set up one-on-one meetings, lots of different avenues to give us that feedback that we needed to hear, because our organization has had many shortcomings in the years leading up to now. Excuse me with this light. And after we received that feedback, we kind of took a step back and realized what we could change to make THON more equitable, whether that be reducing financial or time commitments that we expected of our volunteers, providing programming that allowed us to educate our community better on different things as it pertains to diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as overhauling our application process to make it more fair and have less barriers to entry that were arbitrary in the past, such as GPA or other references requirements, because any Penn Stater is more than qualified to be a THON volunteer. And we want to make sure that everyone has the same opportunity to have this life-changing experience if they would like to be part of it. And this action plan is available publicly on thon.org. We welcome and encourage any feedback or criticism of what we have out so far, as this is going to be a very long-term effort to make sure that THON is as equitable as possible.
Awesome. So as Katie mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, this year, all of our events and everything have really looked different, and the 5K was kind of our first real look at, what is usually a large scale event look like in this year. So the virtual Thon 5K powered by PNC happened back on October 11th, and it happened through race day events and a live stream. Now this was a virtual 5K. And we encouraged all Thon stakeholders and Penn Staters to kind of run the 5K and participate from the remote location. So we prepared runner boxes with lots of supplies that you would need to run the 5K, and distributed that through mail to all of our participants. And kind of, what became the cornerstone of the virtual 5K was what we called the Around the World Challenge, in which we challenged the entire Thon community to collectively run around the world in the week leading up to the 5K. So with this, that would equate to 25,000 miles. We used an app called Charity Miles, which tracked walking and running distance for organization, and anyone could sign up to be a member of Thon's team. When all was said and done at the end of the virtual 5K, the Thon community was able to actually run around the world twice, totaling over 57,000 miles. And then all in all, for the entire virtual 5K, Thon 2021 was able to raise $109,633.07. This was kind of just our first real glimpse that, despite the changes, we really were able to be creative, and we were able to do some really amazing things. And we recapped the day with a live stream at the end of the day, which was really just a great way to finish up the event.
Awesome. So I'm going to go into our next kind of big event that takes place in the fall, which is our annual capital campaign, which is the Dream Forward campaign. It started last year, and this was our second year holding it. Our goal was really just to reconnect our stakeholders and remind them that Thon is not just a one weekend in February. It really is a year-long fundraising effort, and this is really our fall focus on fundraising. Our goal this year was to raise $500,000 from all of our supporters, and the campaign, really included social media, email, and video challenges that were put on social media. There were crediting funds available from some of our donors. There were matching days, fitness and art classes, and a trivia night. So we really put all into this in ways that were safe and were virtual. And, this is, again, something that was completely unprecedented for us. We're typically doing things in person together and, helping to kind of motivate fundraising, whether it's a phone call or something, but we weren't allowed to do that this year. And so we really had to kind of rewrite the playbook in that sense. And ultimately it came down to being creative on social media and through online platforms. So over these 13 days, it was from October 18th to October 30th, we raised $690,013, which was enough to support 80 weeks of child life support, 3 years of prescription copay coverage for our Four Diamonds families, and 4,200 hours of music therapy at Hershey Medical Center. So again, I think this was just a reminder that our community is still strong, still excited about our mission. And, whether we're in person or not, THON isn't necessarily contained to being in-person events. It really allowed us to kind of branch out and just know that we still have all that support from our community and our families. And that was something that was really empowering and motivating for us.
Great. And something that Aiden just touched on a lot with the Dream Forward campaign was our mission, which of course has the families at the very center. So as we went into this year, the Family Relations Committee and really the whole THON community really, took an emphasis on making sure that we're able to support all families through this pandemic. So on October 25th, we had our first virtual Harvest Day. Now this is an event that usually happens in the fall. There was some clips from it in that first recap video where you saw children and families running outside and having a lot of fun. And we wanted to make sure that this day was an opportunity for these kids to just have fun. So we sent take-home kits to all these families that wanted to participate. And these included things like pumpkin painting, a costume and fall fashion show materials. We had a teen hangout, and the box also included snacks. You can see that on the bottom right of the screen, and that was sent to all the families that wanted to participate so that they could have a great day despite the differences this year. So when it came time for the day of the event, we had a lot of great games, performances, and time to catch up with these families. As you can see on the top right, that image was a screenshot from part of our costume and fall fashion show. And it was really just a fun day with THON volunteers and Four Diamonds families connecting and making sure that despite the challenges of this year, that the Four Diamonds families were still at the center of our hearts and still at the center of everything that we were doing.
Absolutely. So kind of going into that, Giving Tuesday is the day following, it's the first Tuesday in December typically. It follows Thanksgiving and then Black Friday and then Cyber Monday. And then the day after Monday is Giving Tuesday. It really is kind of an international campaign that has taken on this beautiful kind of sense of just giving back after a lot of purchasing that goes on throughout that weekend. But our partnership with Johnson & Johnson started with Katie as development director in 2018, actually, and has continued and blossomed since then and turned into our Giving Tuesday challenge this year. So I was able to work with Johnson & Johnson to provide about $40,000 of matching funds for all of our participants. And the way matching works is basically if a participant gives money to their page or for their organization and they qualify, then they'll get that donation matched. So if they give $50 and it gets matched, then effectively they gave $100 to their organization. And it's a really powerful way to motivate our volunteers, but also just encourage more fundraising throughout the day. So it's something that we've been doing with Johnson & Johnson over the past few years. So like I said, volunteers, alumni, friends, and of THON, all participated like with social media posts. There were call-a-thons throughout the days and just fundraising challenges. And we had different hours that were matching up to different amounts. It was pretty incredible. So this year, our Giving Tuesday efforts raised enough money to cover Four Diamonds research operations for 4 days, child life program for 5 months, and psychological counseling for 1 year. And that came to a grand total of $317,000 in 1 day, which is astounding. We were just really, proud of raising that. And again, kind of reminded us that this was a incredible movement. We just have like the strong volunteers out there who are committed to our mission and, excited about being part of that. So we were really proud to be able to do that. And it was, again, just a reminder that our community is strong.
Awesome. So kind of want to jump in here and talk a little bit about our partnership with athletics, which has been strong year after year, and this year is no different. So the first thing that's really important has been our relationship with Four Diamonds families. So in the past, we've had so many great opportunities for teams to meet with Four Diamonds families and kind of, get that experience of these athletes that they look up to so much. And with this year being virtual and, so many of the teams having different schedules and obviously with no opportunity to do things in person, we turned to Zoom. And so many of these Penn State teams were so gracious to be a part of virtual Zoom hangouts with our Four Diamonds families. It really had a renewed focus on facilitating these connections with the families and athletes through activities like question and answers, trivia, fashion shows, fun games like heads up, scavenger hunts, and a couple others. So, despite, what might be different, the families were able to have a great time hanging out with these athletes and really getting to know them in the virtual space. Another great example of our partnership with athletics was through the stadium cutouts promotion this year. So a portion of every sale of Beaver Stadium cutouts for football this year went to THON, which was really kind of just highlighted that partnership between Penn State THON and Penn State Athletics. And so now we're gonna kind of tone gears from what we've done so far this year. We've obviously been recapping all year-long efforts, and we're gonna kind of tone gears into THON weekend. So THON weekend is now just a few days away. And we have three main components that we will kind of be hitting on. First being our live stream, and I'll turn it over to Aiden to talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So our live stream is going to begin on 6 p.m. or slightly before that on Friday, February 19th. So that's this Friday, and it's going to go until 4 p.m. on Sunday, February 21st, which will conclude the event and be finished off with the total reveal for THON 2021. That being said, the stream will be static from 12 to 6 a.m. with B-roll and not very engaging. There's no events or anything. It's really just some very basic content that we're just putting out there. And this is really to encourage our dancers to take a break. Since they're not in the BJC this year, we're encouraging them to take breaks between 12 and 6 a.m. They don't have the support that comes with, EMS, dancer relations, committee members, and captains, and all the support that they normally get to be able to stand and stay up all night. So in light of that and us not being able to provide it, we are encouraging them to take breaks, make sure that they're staying healthy, hydrating, resting, sleeping, things like that. The schedule of events and the spectator guide is available now on thon.org/live stream. We'll take you directly to the page where the live stream is going to be, and there's a link to the spectator guide at the bottom of that page. And that really has all the information that viewers will need to know. So there's a basic schedule of events, social media posts if you're interested in posting about the event, different recipes and stuff that our hospitality committee has provided, mainly for dancers and things like that. But there's pretty much everything that you need to know about the virtual weekend there if you are interested in checking it out. The important thing is our entertainment acts and our performance groups are still going to be featured all weekend long. We're going to have engaging events that are going on, whether they're pre-recorded or some performances that are just happening. This weekend is still important. It's going to be engaging and it's going to be magical that we all know that THON weekend brings. And we're really excited to be able to provide that and share that with the THON community, even though it is virtually. We believe in this community and we know it's going to be a really special event, even though we are completely on a live stream.
Awesome. Yeah. So like Aiden mentioned, we're going to be having dancers look a little bit different this year, but many Penn State students spend freshman, sophomore, and possibly even junior and senior years working to dedicate themselves to THON and supporting our families to earn a position or a spot to be considered a dancer. So we wanted to make sure that these volunteers were still recognized for all of the hard work that they've done over the course of their college careers, and still selected as dancers for THON 2021. So like Aiden said, we've modified it a little bit to be as safe as possible while dancers are participating remotely from home. So we're requiring that dancers do not complete the full 46 hours standing and not sleeping, as it's going to be a dangerous thing to try to attempt from home without the proper resources and support readily available, as frequent as it is when we're all together in the Bryce Jordan Center. So instead, there's other ways for dancers to show their support for THON and Four Diamonds families. They have different tasks and challenges to complete throughout the weekend. And they even have an entire website. It's private to dancers, but it's dancers.thon.org. And they'll be able to go on there and find literally everything that they need: stretching, mental wellness, nutrition guides, all of the activities hour by hour for every hour that they're awake. It's really comprehensive, and we hope that this brings the dancing experience home to all of our most dedicated and incredible volunteers. Tomorrow, they'll be getting their bags full of shirts and goodies throughout the weekend so that they have physical supplies that they needed to complete the weekend, as well as some snack support through gift cards and we're actually providing some food to dancers. But we're really excited to still be able to provide the dancing experience. And I know a lot of students are really excited about this weekend, and I'm looking forward to hearing all about what it's like to dance from home.
Great. And lastly, I want to touch on our family engagement throughout the weekend. So obviously, as I've mentioned before, throughout this entire year, we've kept the families at the forefront of all of our decisions. And our decisions for Thon Weekend have been no different. So we are sending Thon Weekend family boxes to all of our Four Diamonds families that are participating. And these boxes, include everything that they will need to be involved with Thon Weekend. It has a schedule of events, materials for all of the family programming that I'll be talking about in just a moment, shorts, other engaging activities, really just a comprehensive box that allows these families to, be super engaged in the weekend, even though we're not all together in the Bryce Jordan Center. In addition to that, we will have a family lounge stream throughout the majority of the weekend, which gives families the opportunity to kind of have, aside from the main live stream at thon.org/live stream, this family stream will be a little more, personal, and we'll have our family relation captains and our Four Diamonds families have the opportunity to kind of interact, have fun games and activities, and really have a personalized experience for all these families so that it's a super special weekend. And here we just have listed kind of the majority of our family programming throughout the weekend, which you can see is pretty extensive and still includes things like Kids Mail Call, Kids and Teen Talent Show, Pep Rally, Kids Fashion Show, our Family Hour, which happens in the last 4 hours of Thon Weekend from 12 to 4 p.m. on Sunday, this coming Sunday. Teen Night, the Captain in Training program, and the Explorers program. Just all in all, we've kept the families at the center of every decision made, and we're super excited to make sure that every single Four Diamonds family has a weekend that they're never going to forget.
So that kind of concludes all that we've done this year. And this is a very high level overview of the things that Thon has done to adapt to the coronavirus pandemic and make our year just as special in a virtual world. Our volunteers have put in tireless hours and efforts into making even the little things like committee meetings just as special as always. But I want to say thank you to everyone watching and to the Penn State Alumni Association for all of your support. I said this already and I'll say it a million times again, but Thon would not be possible without every single person that is involved, and we'll never be able to say thank you or express our gratitude enough through words. So hopefully you get to tune in this weekend to Thon Weekend at thon.org/live stream and kind of feel that gratitude and feel the sense of community that we're trying to provide to all of our supporters around the world. No matter where you may be, you can tune in and support us that way. We're looking forward to celebrating a year of hard work and just incredible achievement with you all. And I think I'm going to turn it over now to Paul to facilitate a question and answer session.
Absolutely. Thanks, Katie, Eddie, and Aiden. Wonderful presentation. Inspiring to see how you all have addressed the obstacles in front of you in a way that's still going to provide a once in a lifetime Thon experience. Katie, my first question is for you. You have often heard Thon is a well-oiled machine. It just runs itself, right? You just plug the volunteers in and it runs itself. Although when I think about the history of Thon, I think that there is a story of innovation that can be told year after year after year, from changing venues to changing the way that you fundraise and modernize your fundraising strategy to now providing kind of the virtual experience. Can you talk about innovation over the years through the history of Thon?
Certainly. You mentioned kind of that plug and play almost attitude about Thon. And I think for a really long time, that was probably true. We had a lot of check boxes. Here's what we need to do each month all year. And then things changed in the last few years. Like you mentioned, we've changed our fundraising model entirely and had to adapt to a new, safer model that includes peer-to-peer giving. And that has been such an incredible transformation for our organization, because when we used to rely on a practice like canning, we would no longer have any interactions with those supporters. Once they, dropped $1 or a couple quarters in a bin, that would be the end of their Thon experience. But now, because we're able to facilitate online giving and other campaigns, we have that one-on-one interaction or small group interaction with some of our best supporters. And the innovation that has gone into that has been so incredible to see. We've had new things come up with our messaging campaigns, the way that we host events, and it's really brought a lot of people into the fold of Thon. And I think that our virtual setting is going to continue to do that, bring Thon to more people, because it's becoming more and more accessible and more inclusive as the time goes on. Innovation is hard, but Penn State students are the most incredible people I have ever and probably will ever know. And they are dedicated to this. And I have learned this year through COVID and everything else that's happened, if people believe in something enough, which I think a lot of people believe in Thon enough, there's nothing stopping us to make the best of any situation we're put in. So innovation has been hard, but it's been a lot of fun and rewarding to see happen.
Aiden, we talk about the power of the Penn State network all the time at the Penn State Alumni Association. I think of the onboarding a couple of years ago of Donor Drive. I think of the recent implementation of Thon Nation. Can you talk a little bit about the power of the Penn State network and how alumni all over the world have kind of risen up to support the effort now in ways like they couldn't have previously?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this year, one thing that really stuck out to all of us was when we had to make the announcement back during the summer and say, hey, Thon Weekend's gonna be virtual this year. All of us were pretty nervous about that. I think we were kind of concerned that people would be like, what? Like, how are you doing that? Like, how that's not gonna work type thing. But we were just met with support. Just how can we help? How can we make this better? And that started with alumni, right? That started with alumni who care about the organization. They were the ones who were saying, how can I fundraise? How can I help spread Thon's mission and, help just be a part of Thon this year? Because it was virtual, it actually opened up opportunities for a lot of alumni to be part of it in maybe a more engaged way than they have in the past, right? Because a lot of times it is focused on the in-person event. So if you're not in state college, it's hard to be a part of that weekend. It's hard to be a part of the community, but by empowering people to do things virtually throughout the world, literally the world, to support us, it was really empowering. I think one example that I can think of is, so my cousin Nora is a former Thon captain, a former DAR captain actually, and for her wedding, it was overlapping with the Thon 5K that weekend. So that morning, I was able to run a 5K with her literally the day after her wedding, and all like a ton of people from her wedding party to support the Thon 5K. But we were in, Carbondale, Pennsylvania, so far away from State College, but still be able to support from a far away place. And like that's really, I think, what just encompasses this year, is giving alumni the power to do things that aren't focused in State College. And that's really opened up a lot of opportunities for people. So whether that's Thon Nation, whether that's the virtual 5K, and now the virtual live stream for Thon Weekend, people are going to be able to be involved from literally anywhere. And that's been a really powerful driving force in the community this year.
What a great story. I know where Carbondale, Pennsylvania is. I grew up in the Scranton area, and so familiar with northeastern Pennsylvania. What a wonderful story. Eddie, we talk about the fact that Thon doesn't end at graduation, and we also talk about that Thon can't end at graduation, right? Thon can't end until we defeat childhood cancer. In your role, you work with alumni, beyond graduation to keep them engaged in Thon. Talk a little bit about the most rewarding parts of the work that you do with the alumni.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, the thing that is the most rewarding is just seeing so many Penn Staters, many years after graduation, never give up that kind of spark that they feel from the Thon community. And the reason for that is that, graduation isn't, a change from the Thon community. All of these alumni are, still such a strong part of the Thon community, and they're just a part in a different way. And I think for me, just seeing all alums so passionate about Thon and doing all that they can to raise money and raise awareness, really just inspires me to know that, this isn't going to end for me after graduation. This isn't going to end for any of our students, and that we'll, that we can fight for this cause, not just as Penn State students, but as Penn Staters for life.
Paul, I think you're muted.
Yes. Okay, that's a rookie mistake there. A question coming in. I think this is from one of our family members of a panelist. Joel Cliff is asking, for each of your respective roles, what has been the hardest challenge during these unique circumstances, and what has been the most pleasant surprise? Eddie, let's start with you.
Definitely. I think for me, and I think this is probably true for a lot of the roles in Thon was, I think the hardest challenge that I saw at the beginning of the year was, looking at everything that we had been doing and having to adapt. Obviously, I think for alumni, some of our things were already online based and virtual, but there was a lot of events and a lot of things that we needed to change. And as I picked my committee of captains and we started kind of working on our initiatives this year, something that we always kind of kept at the center was making sure that we weren't just adapting to the challenges, but that we were growing and making an opportunity out of every challenge we saw. So as far as the most pleasant surprise, I guess I can talk about something, Paul, that we've been involved for the last we've been doing for the last 4 weeks has been the alumni reunion series. So this is a new event that kind of came out of the virtual nature of this year, in which we had four really engaging episodes where we brought Penn State alum together, depending on the year that they graduated, all the way from 1973 up until grads from 2020. And we kind of told the story of Thon. We told how we started and how we kind of got to the point that we are now. And that's something that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the virtual nature. And I think that is something that I really enjoyed. And I know that as a committee, we want to make sure that we are continuing things of that nature moving forward. So it's definitely been a pleasant surprise to see all the opportunities that have come out of the challenges.
Katie, how about for you? Unique circumstances, pleasant surprises.
I think the hardest thing about this year has been coming to terms with how different it is. A lot of people, current students and alumni, are very comfortable with how Thon works. So to kind of disrupt that and break the mold has been really challenging, just to conceptualize almost. But I think one of the pleasant surprises or most incredible things from this year, I've done a lot of reflecting lately on my time as a volunteer with this year in mind in particular. And in my 5 years as a Penn State student, I think this is the closest I've ever felt to Thon's mission, not even because of the role that I'm in or the work that I do, but because of the way that the community has kind of surrounded us and encouraged us through everything that happens all year long. We've been able to really take a step back and refocus and recenter why we do what we do. It's really easy any year, but especially in a more normal year, to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of every day, going from classes to meetings to events and back. But when you have a little bit of that downtime and you can sit back and think about, why am I on this call today? It really recenters you and puts into perspective exactly why I got involved and why I think a lot of people got involved at the beginning of their Penn State journeys. And I think that's been a beautiful reminder this year. And a pleasant surprise for me personally was feeling so connected to our mission, even though we're so physically distant apart. It's really been a beautiful reminder about just the strength of people when they come together for something.
All right, Aiden, finally you. Give your dad a shout out and answer his question.
He told me he was tuning in over his lunch, so of course he's the first one to ask a question, but I think it's a good one. I think for me, I'm going to echo Katie in terms of knowing, experiencing Thon and what we typically know Thon as is the big in-person event, kind of that feeling within the BJC. I think two pleasant surprises, though, is one, how dedicated we still are, kind of like Katie said, and knowing that this weekend is going to be a really special one. But two, I get to work with a ton of external supporters. So kind of like Eddie said, seeing the outpouring of support when people saw that, more so like less of a criticism and more of like we understand, like, this is the right decision. How can we help you make that, or how can we help you make this special? Because I work with a lot of those supporters, especially corporate ones who are, our direct contacts or alumni of Penn State. They work so hard to make things still special for us with our corporate partnerships. I want to shout out Johnson & Johnson here because they're the best. They're so awesome. They really just helped us to make sure that Giving Tuesday was still special and successful. And that was something that I think was really impactful for us, is just knowing we still have that support directly from companies out there who, are some of them are struggling too, but they still want to be involved in Thon. And that was something that was a pleasant surprise for me, and something I was I was a little bit nervous of, I will say, coming into this year, is just not knowing what sort of relationships we'd be able to maintain and which ones we might have to transition out of based on their business or their company. It was just good to see a lot of support through all of that.
Excellent. Clarabelle Lynn has a question here. You all are doing an incredible work, so thank you. Being a student is just part of the Penn State experience, and you all have taken that to a whole nother level. Eddie, we joked about this off camera. How do you balance your school workload along with this year-long effort? How do you maintain your energy and motivation through such challenging times, since all of you are also working separated from each other? Katie, maybe let's pose that to you as kind of the leader and kind of the person responsibility for morale. First, let's talk about how you all continue to get good grades, and then how you keep your spirits up.
Sure. I think for academics, what has been helpful for me is each year I've gotten more involved. So committee member, captain, director, executive director, and each year has been a little bit more of a time commitment and a little bit more of an expectation of me from the THON perspective. So each year I've gradually been able to adjust my schedule to make sure that I always have time for academics. When I'm in class, I'm in class. I try to put aside my email and Teams and really just be in that moment so I can still be a student, and then set aside time in my schedule each week to do schoolwork so that I'm not forgetting, since a lot of it is also blocked out by meetings or other obligations. So it's really just comes down to time management. It's not unreasonable. I definitely have a little bit less downtime than I do outside of the THON season, but I knew that going into this. So I made the time that I needed to make it work. And in terms of motivation, I mean, the motivation is everywhere. I could look to the people on this call and find inspiration for the rest of today. I could go to THON's website and find inspiration for the rest of my life. There are so many avenues to find motivation to keep fighting. And our family relations committee, especially, I want to give a shout out to Anne and all of her captains who do an incredible job every single day reminding us why we THON. Cancer is an ugly disease and something that hurts so many people. And me spending a couple hours in front of my computer every day is nothing. It doesn't even light a candle to what they go through. So I'm happy to do this in honor of them and in honor of all of our volunteers. I don't want to make it sound like it's easy, because it's not, but there is inspiration everywhere I look. And I've never for once doubted that I'd be able to find it in this community. And I will after graduation too, I'm sure.
Aiden, how about with you? I mentioned in the open, you're a finance major, you picked up a minor in information systems and management. How do you balance the THON, there's the work-life balance, right? The THON education balance.
Yeah. I would agree with Katie. I think one thing is like staying in the present moment, right? When I have a task, like that's what I'm focused on, and doing my best to do that. So whether it's being in class and focusing in class and then coming back to my email, trying not to multitask, I think has really helped. Two is also being efficient with my time. I know when sometimes things are good for group projects and when other things I just need to get done are. And I really kind of learned that, I think, throughout this whole thing. The last thing that really sticks out is making sure to take time for myself, and just kind of whether it's just eating something or having a cup of coffee, or I don't know, just sitting back and like texting my friends for a couple minutes or something like that. Like checking off essentially from the school and THON thing in a very brief kind of 5 or 10 minute kind of break, or just a workout or something like that. That helps me kind of reset. So if I'm getting flustered or just overwhelmed, if I take that little reset and come back to it, it's also really helpful to kind of just refocus and make sure that I can get the things done that need to get done. Especially this week, I think it's been, hectic getting up to THON weekend, as it always is, but that's really helped me. Whether it's just taking 5 minutes to, like I said, just eat something or, call a friend or something like that. That's really helped.
Eddie, how about for you? I mentioned you're a science major, biochemistry, molecular biology. How do you focus on when you're in the lab, be in the lab, and when you're not, focus on THON? How do you get it done?
Definitely. I think that I'm probably going to echo a lot of what Katie and Aiden said, because I think at the end of the day, simply it is time management. It's making sure, I think Katie, I think she framed it really well when she said, each year I think my responsibilities have grown and my ability to manage my time and adapt to the situations have grown as well. I think it really is just prioritizing what needs to get done, and making sure that I'm, of course, something we say, and that's something that I always remind to my remind my captains is your student first, and you're a Thon volunteer next. So making sure that we're all here as Penn State students to get a great education, and keeping that at the forefront, but also knowing that our work as Thon volunteers are just so impactful, and making sure that we can, I can do everything I need to do to keep my to excel in my studies, and make sure that I am doing well academically, and then using the rest of my time as wisely as possible to make sure that I'm making the biggest impact on this organization as I can.
I'm going to ask each of you to think about it, and I'm going to put Eddie on the spot first. But what has been your Thon moment? My Thon moment actually involved Eddie. It involved Eddie and Lulu Ham the first time the Alumni Association sponsored the Whiteout at Pep Rally. And the moment that the Bryce Jordan Center went from, this rainbow of colors that it normally is during Thon weekend to a complete whiteout. And you can actually see it behind me on my screen when we whited out for our 150th anniversary, celebrating the Alumni Association. That was just a magical moment, right? It was a moment where a lot of planning went into it, and but a small group of people were able to make something really meaningful for the 17,000 people in the Bryce Jordan Center. Eddie, what was your Thon moment?
Definitely. I think I get this question a lot, and I always I always feel like I have different answers. And I think in thinking, there's so many great memories, but in trying to think of just one moment that really was just super eye opening, the one that just comes straight to mind is the Thon 2020 total reveal. So I had the opportunity with the rest of the executive committee to announce the Thon 2020 total by holding up the numbers. And I just remember when the when it was said 11 million, and that was more than the year before, and it was a number that I and the entire Thon community was just so proud of. I just remember being overwhelmed and thinking that despite all the challenges that we faced last year, which now after this year might seem minuscule in comparison, but after all the challenges that we had faced, that we had overcome, and that we had just made sure that we were raising as much money as possible to make sure that the children and families impacted by childhood cancer all supported through research and through financial support. And I think that it was more than the total. It showed me that the community is strong, and the community is only getting stronger. And I think of that moment a lot when I think of this year, and I think of the challenges that we have faced. And it reminds me that despite the challenges, the strength that I felt in that moment has guided me and has guided the entire community through this entire year.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can still there's some things that when you think of a moment, right, you remember all the sounds around it. I can still hear Regina saying 11 million and her voice cracking a little bit because it was such a moving moment. Aiden, how about for you? What has been your Thon moment to date?
That's a great question. Mine changes each time too. I would say last year, it was towards the end as well. It was during Final Four. And as I was coming up from the floor to go back onto the concourse, I was getting ready to go sit with my committee. But right before I went up, I went and saw my organization, which is Phi Chi Theta, professional business fraternity. They always have a section kind of like at the end of the BJC, so opposite of the stage. And there was like an opening. It was weird. There was an opening right in front of the section. I went up to them, and they all like saw me, and I just like talked to like 50 people at once. So I've never had any sort of experience like that, but I basically was just yelling up to them. And then I'm not sure if anyone's ever seen it. It's going to be hard to explain. I'm going to look ridiculous on camera, but basically it's like a roller coaster thing. You put your arms up and you go like this and this, and they all follow you. And so I kind of had that like moment with them, and it was really special because they had an incredible fundraising year last year, but also just a week before Thon, they raised, thousands of dollars. And to see their success and then to see their total a few hours later, and know that I was part of that and got to have that little moment with them was probably the most special one for me. So that was last year, and that's kind of what I reflect on a lot when I remember the BJC Thon last year.
How about you, Katie?
This is a really tough question. I'm going to be
Yeah.
honest. I feel like I could talk probably for a really long time about a lot of moments that have shaped my experience, but one moment that always comes into my head and something I think about every single day is not necessarily my moment by any, it's actually not my moment at all. It's a shared moment with other people in the Thon community. But last January at the end of the month, we lost one of our Four Diamonds children, Four Diamonds teens. Actually, she was beloved by her organization to this day. They still celebrate her life every single day. And a lot of us, I don't have it on now, but we wear bracelets in her honor. I think Eddie has his. Yep, for Joyce Ortiz. She's paired with ATO and Zeta. Her family is paired with ATO and Zeta, and she passed last January. And at the end of the month, on the day of her passing, cars and cars went out to the hospital to be with her. And at the house, the ATO house, they had a lot of members come by. And I'm not part of ATO or Zeta. It's not my realm of Penn State, but a lot of executive committee members were there. A lot of Greek life members were there. And we were really able to have this shared experience of celebrating all of the lives that Thon has been so lucky to get to know over the years, and recognize that our angels are so important to us and that we want to keep their memory alive forever. So it was just a really beautiful and impactful moment of hundreds of people standing outside of the ATO house downtown, swaying arm in arm, singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow in honor of Joyce. People who I to this day couldn't tell you their names, but I could tell you that they cared about Joyce, and that was the most beautiful thing, and this common thread that brought us together. So that's the moment in all of my Thon experience that I reflect on all the time, and I think about is just a defining experience for this community. We come together to celebrate the lives of our families, no matter what stage of treatment they're in. And, that's just inspiration and power for us all. That's not really eloquently said by any means, but that has been the moment that defined my experience here with Thon, and something that I think a lot of us look back on. And we miss Joyce dearly. We miss her every day, but we're able to celebrate her life and recognize and celebrate the impact that she made on all of us.
Well, it was very well said, Katie. Let's switch gears here for a second, right? We all know one of the best ways that you can support Thon and the movement is by going online right now, right when we get off this live stream. Go to thon.org and you can make a gift. And why don't you just do that every day between now and Sunday when the final numbers revealed? If you do that every day and make that part, you too will have a great impact on defeating childhood cancer. But there are so many other ways that we could support your efforts and that we could support dancers. There's a comment that came in here, and I'm sorry I don't have the name of the person, but they organized a vid hug, which is a compilation of encouraging video messages from family and friends for her cousin who is dancing. If you'd like to suggest that to others on the webinar, well, I'm suggesting it to others on the webinar. If you know people who are dancing, go out to vid hug and put together a video for the people that you're supporting. But Katie, Eddie, Aiden, whoever wants to jump in here, talk a little bit about some of the other ways that you could support dancers and support your efforts that are going on.
Yeah, there's so many ways other than making a financial contribution to Thon to show your support. One of the best ways is to just be an advocate for our mission. If you believe in what we're doing and want to be part of this community, you can follow us on all of our social medias. We're on Twitter, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere. If you follow us and like and comment on our posts and share that is doing so much to get Thon into new networks that we weren't part of originally. So I would encourage, if you want to show support, please follow us today on social media and begin to be advocates for our mission. Whether you're with friends or coworkers, just let them know about the cool thing that's going on over here at Penn State. In addition to that, if you ever want to host your own fundraiser, you can utilize our platform, Thon Nation. There's more information on thon.org, but that is our way for non-students to participate in Thon. You can host fundraisers, whether in person or virtual, in person when it's safe to do so, but virtually as well. So we encourage you to check that out and consider hosting a fundraiser on our behalf. Thon is a year-long effort. So the new fiscal year for Thon 2022 will start on July 1st, 2021, just here in a few months. So I encourage you to consider getting your planning in ahead of time and be ready to hit the ground running once that July 1st date hits to start supporting Thon 2022. But in the meantime, there's lots of ways you can support us this week. But being an advocate for our mission is the best thing that I would ask of everyone watching today.
It's interesting. You mentioned looking forward, and one of the things that I have thought about is next year's Thon. but what I've really been thinking about is this year's freshman class who have come into Penn State. What have you all done to get the first year students involved and kind of understanding and knowing what Thon is all about and feeling kind of the power of Thon so that your legacy can be that, yes, we did this virtual one, but when it comes back and face to face, it's even stronger.
Definitely. I think I can field this one. I think, this was a big question at the beginning of the year, how are we going to engage this freshman class without a lot of the in-person things that we usually do. And the first step was kind of our normal committee member process and application, as Katie mentioned when talking about D&I at the beginning of the presentation. We totally revamped our application and kind of onboarding process to get new students and all of our volunteers kind of into committees. And that was a way to kind of lower the barrier to entry. And we really wanted to focus on freshmen now as well to make sure that, they know that Thon is something that is happening this year. And although, it's happening differently, it's happening, and it's a great thing to get involved with. And I know, we really kept the mission at the center of that messaging when we when we reach out to freshmen. We really, although the events may be different, the mission stays the same. And we were able to get great participation from the freshman class in that first kind of installment of committee member applications and onto our committees. But when it came time to kind of the end of the first semester, this year is something we've been saying is it's our year to almost, take risk and try new things that maybe we haven't in the past. And that might not even be related to the pandemic and all. So something that we did try and that has been super successful so far has been our first ever freshman involvement committee. So this was a committee that was picked for the first time in January, and just picked for about 6 weeks before Thon weekend, and have the opportunity to spend time with only freshmen on the committee, and with the exception of the captains, and really get to meet other freshmen, get to hear about Thon's mission, and kind of get a shorter version of this Thon experience. And we want to make sure that we had over 100 people apply to this freshman committee, which we were super excited for. We have six different committees of about 18 to 20 freshman volunteers, and these committees have gotten the first the first foot on the door for Thon, and they, from what I hear, they've been going so well, and all these freshmen are excited to be involved with Thon weekend this year virtually, but also continue their involvement year after year. So I've been super excited to see how our freshmen have adapted and have seen that Thon is a way to connect with others even in a virtual world.
That's awesome. Thanks, Eddie, for that. We are coming up on our time here. I wish we could talk. I wish we could talk a lot more about all the great things that you're doing. If you're still tuned in, or if you're out on Facebook Live, go to thon.org, make your gift to the 2021 Thon, buy some Thon gear. Make sure you get your white Penn State Alumni Association whiteout T-shirt in the Thon store. Many ways that you can support their efforts. Finally, before we wrap up, it's gonna, when we're watching on 46 Live, right, there's going to be a lot of the same things that normally happen at Thon. Talent show, family hour, alumni hour, pep rally. Just between us, I know you have some celebrities. Do you want to go ahead and maybe share who those celebrities might be right now, just between us and a couple friends on Zoom?
Our lips are sealed, but we have already released the times. So if you want to see who our celebrity guests are this weekend, it's both Friday and Saturday evenings at 8:30. There's plenty of other entertainment leading up to and after, so you don't want to miss any of it. Have it on in the background while you're doing chores and cleaning your house, whatever you're doing, just keep it on all weekend. Another way to just show our support by engaging our viewership.
All right, no breaking news here on the virtual speaker series. Katie, if somebody wants to find that full schedule of activities, where can they find that?
If you go to thon.org, at the very top of the website, there's a blue banner. If you click on that blue banner, it'll take you to where our spectator guide is, as well as some frequently asked questions. Frequently Asked Questions has a lot of information pertaining to how we're treating Thon Weekend as safely as possible as it pertains to COVID. And then the Spectator Guide has a full schedule of everything that you don't want to miss, and then some activities that you can participate in from home.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules the week of Thon to spend an hour with us to share all you're doing for the kids. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, Paul, and thank you for all the support from the entire Alumni Association. Couldn't do it without you.
Absolutely. That's all the time we have for today. And once again, thanks to Aiden, Katie, and Eddie for joining us. I also want to thank all of you who have tuned in, whether you're here on Zoom or out on Facebook Live. Thank you so much for tuning in. As a reminder, we have a lot more virtual events coming up in the coming weeks and months. Go ahead to alumni.psu.edu/events for all of our schedule of events that are coming up in the future. Again, thanks for all you do for the university, for the glory, and for the kids. We are
Penn State.
Penn State.